What is up, guys? Stas here. Welcome back to another video. So yet again, another roller coaster ride in the stock market today. Currently, the S&P 500 is down 0.2%. The Dow Jones is up 0.2%. The Nasdaq 100 is down 0.8%. And the Russell 2000 is down almost 0.9% with about an hour and 10 minutes left in the session. And today, we're going to be talking more about the markets, breaking down some technicals, going over a bunch of stocks to buy now, and I also want to share with you guys what stocks I own right now and in general where my head is at as a trader and as an investor. So let's just talk. I mean, S&P is not looking too great here. You can see again it's down about 0.2% with an hour and 10 minutes, and what we saw this morning was a pretty big gap up. I mean, take a look. It went from 39.32 at yesterday's closing price, and it gapped down all the way to about 3,900. It actually almost dipped its toes into the 3,800 territory, which ended up, I mean, from top to bottom, and by top I mean the close yesterday, to where it bottomed out earlier in the pre-market, or really at the market open. That drop was almost 0.9%, about 0.85% there to be exact. So that was a pretty big drop. But notice here on the intraday chart, we'll go back to that 5-day, 5-minute in a second. What we see here is pretty bullish. I mean, we gapped down, which wasn't bullish, but what we see is a double bottom. Take a look. 3,900 held at about 9:35 a.m. here on the East Coast, and it also held back at about 11:20 through about 11:45 a.m. on the East Coast. So what I'm seeing is pretty much a double bottom, and that's pretty bullish because you guys know usually when we see a double bottom, what follows after that is a breakout a lot of the time. And on top of that, we're noticing within this double bottom breakout, we also see an inverse head and shoulder. The left shoulder here, the head right here where the second bottom was, and the right shoulder pretty much right here, and then we actually broke out and filled the gap up to about 39.25, which is where we are right now. And now the key is, back on that 5-day, 5-minute, we're actually looking to see if the S&P 500 wants to break this 180 SMA on this 5-day, 5-minute chart, and this general area of resistance stemming from the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trading days. You guys can see that resistance is right around 39.25 to about 39.30. So what are we going to do? We're in this wedge. We are breaking out currently intraday. I mean, we saw a sell-off. Now we're bouncing back. What are we going to do at this pivotal point right here? That is going to tell us a lot about the direction. If we break 39.30, we break the wedge here overall, that's going to be pretty bullish. We could end up testing those highs at that point. But if we fail here at 39.30, we go down for the support of the wedge and even break that wedge, 3,900, let's say that breaks too, we might be going 3,800s. And I mean, that could be good for the markets. I know you guys don't like when the markets go down. I don't like it when they go down either. I mean, no one likes losing money, but you have to look at it as a buying opportunity. You have to kind of shift your mental process around, the stock market, and you have to look at, okay, green days are awesome, but red days are great too because we could pick up stocks on the dip. So I wouldn't mind if this broke under 3,900. And if that were to happen, guys, I think this could go 38.60, followed by 38.25. And if this uptrending channel breaks, we could end up going down to the 180 SMA here on the 4-hour chart, which is right around 37.50 to about 37.60. So that is where the S&P could go. I mean, at this point, we are seeing, like I said, gap downs. That is not the best. And by no means are these signs of a crash quite yet. We're not there quite yet, but we're just seeing, again, a little bit of a descending pattern forming, especially because we gapped down today. And it's so pivotal at what we do around 39.60 or 39.30, like I said, and 3,900. I can't reiterate that enough. Those two levels are huge. So what are your thoughts? Let me know down below in the comments. What are your thoughts on the markets? As always, I would love to know. Do you think we're going lower, or do you think we're actually going to rip higher? Because I've been hearing people say 4,000, 4,050. We might get there on the S&P before we end up seeing a pullback. So what do you think? Drop a comment down below, and make sure to also hit that like button. Let's try to get 400 likes. I challenge you guys. Let's try to get 400 likes on this video. Hit that like button. And now let's quickly talk about what stocks I own. And since I haven't really been buying, I feel like I haven't been buying these past couple of days, it's been the same. So I don't want to really spend too much time on it. We're going to go over my swing holdings. So number one is Tesla. And Tesla took a beating today. It's still down about 0.3%. It hit a low of about $760. And I was actually talking to somebody on Patreon, multiple people actually on Patreon today, about Tesla. And what I told them, I'll tell you guys right now, is 780. 780 was such a big spot. And that is because it was actually support back in the end of January. So the fact that we broke under 780, that's not good. That's honestly showing us the downside momentum that could continue. We very well could continue that way because 780 broke. So that's not good. But what is good is we ended up retaking 780. We ended up breaking out of that resistance, and now we're actually ripping up to the point where we're almost green. I mean, Tesla's only down 0.1% now on the day. So that's a good sign that we broke above, 780, but we're still in the downtrend. Notice here on the 5-day, 5-minute, Tesla is still downtrending, so we very well could get rejected at 800 and then maybe go down and test 760 again and maybe push for a lower low, because again, the fact that 780 broke, that shows that we could go a bit lower. It shows that, okay, there is some downwards momentum, but don't get it twisted, guys. The bulls are fighting back, and I'd say if 800, 810 were to break, I think that would be very good for the bulls, to the point where mid-800s, that is where we could be going. So I'm holding Tesla. I'm also still in Rocket, ticker symbol RKT, which is looking like it wants to go down and test this trend line. Let me show you guys right here. It looks like it wants to test the low 20s. I mean, heck, we are already there. We're already there. We're at 20.25 right now. So look for a hold at about $20. I think this could be a bounce play. And they actually report earnings on the 25th. So about 8 days from now, they are reporting earnings. So Rocket, I'm still holding. Tattooed Chef had a nice run earlier. Now it's really at break even. I mean, take a look. Literally, it's at break even as we speak. But earlier in the day, it had a huge run to 25.75. And my thesis around the inverse head and shoulder, we called this out on Patreon a couple of days ago. This is panning out. I mean, take a look at it. Left shoulder, the head. The right shoulder right here, we popped up. We didn't fully complete that right shoulder, but we're getting close. It would complete around 27. So that's my price target right now on Tattooed Chef. Neo, I'm also still holding, guys. This one's down in the dumps today, but I'm still holding on tight. And Workhorse, this one, guys, is getting hit. Down almost 5%, or actually almost 6%. And it's getting close to those levels we've been talking about, around $28, $30, $32. So this is a very interesting spot for Workhorse. I'm in at $22. I've locked in a bunch of profits already, so I'm just holding on to the rest of my position. And I'm looking to maybe add more here. So Workhorse, I'm in this holding. SLV, I'm in this one as well, holding on to that. And same with SBE, which is holding on to this uptrend here at about $37, which is interesting. And I would like to maybe add more if it could break out of, I'd say, around $41 to about $42. So as always, guys, just let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. What stocks are you buying? Are you selling right now? Are you trimming down, locking in profits? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. And if you guys want more access to me throughout the day, buy sell alerts, call outs throughout the day, check out that Patreon. That's linked down below. I also do a morning update video every day on Patreon exclusive exclusive to the top tier patrons. So if you're interested, check that out down below. And now let's talk about a couple of stocks here that recently are a bit beaten down. And the first one is Apple, ticker symbol AAPL. And Apple is down over 2% today. We're seeing a lawsuit right now around Epic Games, so that could be the reason why it's going down a bit today. And I mean, the markets are going down, tech in general is going down, so that definitely has an effect as well. And on top of that, although this is probably not moving the stock down, it could be a little bit, but we're seeing that Berkshire actually cut its positions in Apple and piled into a bunch of other stocks, including, some drug manufacturers, telecom, and oil companies. That's actually according to their 13F filing with the US SEC. And the Warren Buffett-led company shed its Apple stake by 6%. So it's not like they shed it by 50% or something crazy. They only cut their position by 6% to 887 million shares in the quarter. And at the same time, they upped their investments in AbbVie, Bristol Myers Squibb, and Merck by, oh wow, take a look at this, guys. AbbVie by 20%, they upped their position. Bristol Myers Squibb by 11%. And Merck, which, gosh, did we not just talk about Merck a couple days ago? They upped their position in Merck by almost 30%. So they're not dumping all their Apple shares, guys. I mean, I'm not freaking out by any stretch of the imagination. This is normal. They're trimming out of profits. They're up a ton on the position, and they're just reinvesting it elsewhere. I mean, wouldn't you, if you're running a business, if you're running a portfolio and you see, okay, Apple's running up a ton, let me just take 5-10% out of Apple, lock in some profits, trim it down a bit, and then add it to some undervalued stocks. I mean, wouldn't you do that? That's pretty smart. So Apple at this point, I really like it. It's down today, like I said, 2% plus. It's going down as we speak with about an hour left in the session. And we're approaching a pretty big support at about $127. That was support back in January, pretty much all of January, $127, and it was resistance back in the middle of October and back in the beginning of December. So for me, I think 127 could be where we're going, maybe 128 to 129. And take a look, I mean, the RSI is so oversold, so we might not even get to 127. We'll see. But overall, this general spot, I like it as kind of a bounce back play. I could see Apple, especially if tomorrow, maybe the next day, we see a green day in the market or 2 green days in a row. I could easily see Apple bounce back from 128, 129, and probably rally back into the mid 130s. If it broke 133, 133.20, it could probably run up to 135. So that's kind of what I'm thinking there with Apple. So I like it. I didn't buy any of it yet. I'm still sitting on a ton of cash in my portfolio. But this is one that I might end up pulling the trigger. And by the way, almost forgot, for those of you guys that are freaking out about them selling Apple, Apple is still the largest investment in the portfolio, guys. So it's still their biggest single stock investment, and it's worth about $120 billion. So I'm not worried about that. If anything, I like this as a dip buy. And Blink Charging is another one, ticker symbol BLNK. This is one that saw a bit of resistance atop at about $60, $61. That was resistance from back in the end of January. And now you can see it's pulling down. It has pulled down from about $60 to about $46, which if you guys have been watching the channel, this is actually the lower price target that I was looking for, 45 to about 47, right around there. That was the lower end. And now we're here, and you can notice, and you can see that it's holding the support of this channel. We're trying to retake that 180 SMA on the 4-hour chart, and that's kind of what I'm waiting for. I think if Blink could retake 48, 49 and get back into $50, I think this could be a nice bounce back play, and I'm probably going to wait until this 5-day, 5-minute downtrend break breaks, which it would break right around 50. So right around that 50-51 level. So I'm watching that here on Blink Charging. And another thing worth mentioning before we go into the next stock, this is down well over 20%. It's down 23%. It's in a bear market. So, I mean, yeah, this is very beaten down at this point in time. IDEX is another one. Ideanomics. This one's down over 9%, almost 10% right now. Here on the 4-hour chart, you can clearly see we broke on the downside, or the bottom side, shall I say, of this wedge that we had drawn. We broke about 450. We saw a big gap down this morning. Now we're trading at about $4. And if we pull back to that 180 chart, the 180-day chart, you can see we're getting close to that 180 SMA, which is what I said in multiple videos ago. That could be the lower end target here and a big support to watch out for. And now we're getting close. It does have about 40 cents, about 7% to go to reach that 180 SMA, but it might not. Who knows? But anywhere between $3.80, $3.75, $4, I think this could be a pretty decent dip buy for IDEX on the momentum, and considering the fact that every time we've pulled back in the past couple of weeks, we held that 180 SMA at a higher low, we ripped up higher, and we hit a higher high. So this is very well worth watching. The name is Ideanomics, ticker symbol IDEX. The next one here is FSLY, ticker symbol FSLY, which I do believe, I think they report earnings tomorrow on Thursday. Yeah, I think the 18th of February. That rings a bell. And overall, I mean, FSLY, it's probably close to a bear market at this point in time. It is. It's actually down 20% at the time that I'm recording this video. And notice it's holding an uptrend at a higher low at about $93, $94. And this has to be respected. This must be taken seriously, because if we end up ripping out and maybe testing and taking out the 180 SMA resistance here on the 4-hour chart, this gold trend line, and break above 100, I mean, that is a clear sign of a reversal in my eyes. And I think we could be going 103, and especially if 103 breaks, that was resistance back in July, back in August, back in December. If 103 could break 105 especially, you know, that's a clear sign we're getting back to the 110s, 115s, maybe even going up to take out the highs of 117. So FSLY is down. It's in a bear market. It is at this point. And I think it is worth watching as a pretty beaten down stock, although it has still gone up a ton in the past 6 months. I mean, it was $42 back in June. Now it's 96, so it's still gone up a ton, but recently it's gotten beaten down, right? And the next one is also getting beaten down, and I hate to say, guys, but I told you so. I told you so. This is a stock here, Virgin Galactic, SPCE, that I've covered so often these past couple of weeks leading up into this test flight on the 13th, which I am a little bit late on, covering this, but that was 4 days ago, and guess what happened? The test flight, it got delayed. And I said there was going to be multiple, well, really 2, maybe 3 scenarios that could have played out heading into the test flight. One of them was the test flight succeeds. It happens, and the stock could go up after that. Or the test flight gets delayed, the stock would go down after that. Or we end up seeing the flight happen and maybe another aborted mission, which would probably send the stock down as well. And we ended up seeing the test flight delayed, which I'm not surprised at all that happened. And the stock is down 3.5% today, and it's down from about $59, almost $60 on the 11th of February. That was the high. It's down from that point about $12. And let me take a look. Is this a bear market? Almost. It actually is. It's actually down 21% from that high a couple trading days ago. And this is all because of that delay delayed flight. And now, who knows when the flight's going to be? I mean, they tweeted on the 12th of February, quote unquote, or start quote rather, flight test update. We have been progressing through our pre-flight preparations, and during that process, we have decided to allow more time for technical checks. We are working to identify the next flight opportunity. So, I mean, you could argue that's good. They want to take extra precautions, or is that just a cover-up for crap? We're not ready for this yet. We need to push it back a little bit. We don't really know. So the stock's selling off a bit. We'll see how that plays out. At this point on the 4-hour chart, I think we could maybe not all the way to the 180 SMA here on the 4-hour, which would be around 38, but maybe we pull down to 45, maybe to 44. That could be a spot. So I'm looking at this falling knife on Virgin Galactic. It could go lower. And another one that did well today was QuantumScape, which went up over 26%. It's up 26% right now with about 45 minutes left. And this is one that I was talking to somebody on Patreon today as well about. And it worked out for that person because I believe they were in this stock and they were asking me about it. And I told them, I think if $58 breaks, and especially 60, I mean, let me pull up this 4-hour. Take a look at this. If 58, this was the high. 57, actually. That was the high from back on the 16th. If that were to break, we'd likely fill up to the 180 SMA 4-hour chart, right around 59. And if that were to break, $60 plus is coming. That's kind of what I was watching, and that's what I saw, and that's what I told that person on Patreon. And it happened. And I mean, they reported earnings the other day. Analysts were estimating a net loss of 3 cents a share, according to Yahoo Finance, and there were no revenue estimates, according to them. And the results came in at a net loss of almost $700 million, or $2.41 a share, and an adjusted operating loss of $22.4 million. A year ago, the net loss was $14 million. So a year ago, they lost $14 million. Now they just lost $700 million, and the EPS went down, and the stock's going up. So, I mean, it's not bad that they're losing that much money. You guys have to realize a lot goes behind companies in the early stages, especially, you know, next generation companies that are looking to do, you know, some next level stuff. There's a lot of research and development, a lot of money behind that. So it makes sense that they're losing that much. And it's interesting how the stock is up 27%. So this one's worth watching. And this is kind of a buy the breakout opportunity, in my opinion. We just broke the 180 SMA. A lot of people are like, oh, this might be overbought. I don't think it, I mean, it is overbought, but I don't think that matters because it could just rip up higher on momentum and pure hype, because this is one of those stocks that is pretty, tied up into the hype sometimes. So it could go up to 73. That's the high that I'm seeing from the beginning of 2021. Maybe up to, let's say, 80. 80 is a higher end target. That was resistance back in December. So take a look at QS. I mean, this is interesting stuff here, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments as always, and make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And one honorable mention is Shopify. And by no means is Shopify beaten down, but I just want to talk quickly about their, revenue, their EPS. They just did EPS of $1.58 versus $1.25. Revenue came in at $977 versus $910 million estimated. So they beat EPS, beat revenue. Their Q4 subscription sales are up 53% year over year. And the reason why we're seeing a sell-off is probably because the overall market is. But on top of that, we're seeing 2021 growth is not as fast. It's not expected to be as quick or as high, the growth, as it was in 2020. In 2021, the revenue growth is supposed to be 30% versus in 2020, it was 85%. So, yeah, I mean, we'll leave it at that. And Shopify, at this point, it did drop to about the 50 SMA at 1330, which was a level we were talking about this morning on Patreon in the morning update video. And it looks like it dropped straight to it. It held 1340. It ripped back up. So if you guys caught that move, shout out to you. I didn't. And we'll see what happens now with Shopify. But overall, it could go either way. And we'll wrap it up there. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Make sure to go down below, get 2 stocks from WeBull. Those are valued up to $1,600. All you have to do is deposit $100 using my link, and you get 2 free stocks. And you could also get 30 free bucks from M1 Finance by also using my link, opening up an account, and depositing any amount of money. And all of those are free, linked right down below. And you guys could also check out my Patreon if you want real-time buy and sell alerts, real-time call-outs, morning update videos, and a bunch of exclusive content. Check out the Patreon. That is linked right down below in the description box. So I'll catch you all in the next video. Thanks for watching as always. Stay safe out there. Keep crushing the markets. Peace out, guys.